A celebration for 2020. We even got the sun shining. How much better could it get, really? This is great. Thanks all for coming out. My name is Bill Arthur. I'm the Executive Director of TreeLafayette. I think this is Arbor Day. Arbor Day is a celebration of trees and a day in which we are encouraged to plant trees. It's also a call for each of us to do our part in protecting and caring for our existing trees and forests. Arbor Day is an annual call, and it's a reminder that each of us can make a difference in our environment. The Earth's atmosphere has ever greater levels of CO2 in it. At least a good part of that is due to our dependence on fossil fuels, and the CO2 levels have been linked to global warming and climate change. There are a number of things we can do to curb this trend of rising CO2 levels in our environment, in our atmosphere. We can reduce our consumption of fossil fuels. We can switch to renewable energy sources like sun and wind. We can move to electric vehicles. And we can, as well, plant more trees. That's one of the simplest things we can do to fight climate change. Amen. Yes. Other benefits that trees can, so back up a little bit. So recall back in 6th grade that process called photosynthesis. I'm not going to ask us to spell it, but recall how photosynthesis takes CO2 out of the air and releases oxygen so that we can breathe, and uses the carbon to feed the plant cells. So fortunately, trees make photosynthesis possible and purifies our air. Other benefits that trees can bring to our city landscapes: as I say, they increase the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, and they remove the CO2, but they also remove sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxide from our air. Trees can reduce stormwater runoff. They make our parks and open spaces more attractive. It's been proven that students perform better when their school buildings are surrounded by trees. Also, it's been proven that office workers with window views of green spaces are sicker, are sick fewer days. Okay, I'll get that right. Not sick. Right. Trees protect us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. Trees absorb sound, reduce noise pollution. Trees can have a calming effect to motorists, and it's been apparently proven that driver safety is increased when our city streets have trees lining them. Also, from the commercial side, people spend more in business districts that are surrounded by trees. Trees reduce graffiti in neighborhoods and also reduce crime and littering. And of course, we know they increase property values. Those are just some of the benefits of trees in our environment.
So a quick thank you again to TreeLafayette. Like I said, I saw most of you yesterday as we celebrated Earth Day that got canceled earlier in the year. But thank you again to TreeLafayette, to everybody from our Parks Department, to all the volunteers, Duke Energy. Dan, thank you. In the last several years, you guys have really stepped up to help us with these tree plantings. Thank you for allowing us to be here today, using your property. You want to wave? You're new to the community, so we have a newcomer here that we need to welcome properly. So thank you very much. Thank you to the Parks Department for the work that they do typically on these projects. Again, as we said, it takes a lot of people working together to get these projects done. And Bill, I think we need to hire him, Dave. He's good prepared. He said everything that we need to say about the importance of trees and the environment. So thank you very much, Bill, for your preparation and all the work that you do to help make these programs and projects possible. So, 2020 proclamation of Arbor Day in the city of Lafayette. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed Arbor Day to recognize the importance of trees in our lives. And whereas in 1989, Johanna Downey, a Lafayette City Councilwoman, had the foresight and the vision to author Lafayette's tree ordinance to protect Lafayette street trees and promote planting and education. And whereas trees are a necessary component of our healthful existence and contribute to the quality of life by purifying the atmosphere, moderating temperatures, and providing seasonal beauty. And in December of 2015, the United States nation signed the Paris Climate Agreement. And whereas the Paris Climate Agreement promotes more trees being planted in the cities of the world, and whereas as the development consumes more and more open land, the planting of more trees takes on even greater importance. And whereas trees contribute to our nation's natural resources by providing fuel, shelter, and food in a form that through proper management and use can remain renewable for the use of future generations. And whereas the citizens of Lafayette join thousands of other Americans who will commemorate this special day by planting trees and celebrating the importance of trees in our lives. Now therefore I, Tony Roseworski, the mayor of the city of Lafayette, do hereby proclaim Thursday, October 1st, 2020 as the observance of Arbor Day in the city of Lafayette, and call upon all the people of Lafayette to recognize the importance of this day. So thank you again to everybody that made today possible. These trees look fantastic.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. It's not too many organizations in the community that can pull off Earth Day and Arbor Day back to back in 2 days. That's impressive. So we're happy to be here. It's also a great testament to TreeLafayette and all the volunteers here that these trees are in the ground right now. Obviously an unusual year, and it didn't work out as any one of us expected, but the trees are here, they're thriving. I mean, Larry is tracking from north to south how much rain each tree is getting, so it's impressive. We're so happy to support this organization, and this grant was, I believe, if I recall, maybe the biggest grant of TreeLafayette's history. So very, very proud that we were able to help out in that way. And Duke Energy is committed to sustainability. We have a plan right now to move to net zero carbon emissions by 2050, and it's going to be a heavy lift for us to get there, just based on how, I mean, Indiana especially has been coal country for a very long time, and it's a big shift to our operations to get there, but we have a plan in place and we're making real progress moving in that direction. So we're proud of those commitments, and we love trees. We don't always get a reputation for loving trees. We always try to say right tree, right place. And this is a great place for trees with no lines overhead, right? So, but we do. We try to work with the best sustainability practices for the trees that we interact with, and of course support plantings where we can. And there's no better organization in this community than TreeLafayette to do that. So thank you all again. We appreciate the opportunity.